In this video, I challenge the modern gospel of hustle and persistence. We are told that if we just push harder, the wall will break. But what if the wall isn't there to test your strength? What if the wall is there to save your life? If I fail to convince you of this in the next 30 minutes, you may spend the next decade battering yourself against a door that was never meant to open for you. We are talking about spiritual burnout, but not as a medical condition, as a strategic intervention by your higher self. You know the feeling. It is not just tiredness, it is a deep marrow-level exhaustion where every step forward feels like wading through drying concrete. You have the plan, you have the will, yet the universe seems to conspire with specific, almost humorous precision to block you. The deal falls through at the last second, the technology glitches, the relationship ends without closure. You think you are fighting bad luck. Because you believe you are fighting bad luck, you double your efforts, but this creates a dangerous feedback loop. Therefore, your higher self has to escalate the blockage. It moves from gentle nudges to the tower moments, total structural collapse. We are going to deconstruct the numerological signature of this blockage. We will look at why seeing the numbers 4 and 7 repeatedly during this phase is a warning shot, and why your current definition of success might actually be a vibration that your soul is allergic to. By the end of this video, you will understand that you are not broken. You are being redirected. But first, we must understand the mechanics of the energy draining you.
To understand why this block is happening, we must look at the physics of the soul. In numerology, every path has a frequency. When your ego, the part of you obsessed with safety, status, and logic, chooses a path that contradicts your soul's blueprint, friction occurs. This friction generates heat. We call that heat burnout. It is not a lack of energy, it is the waste of energy through resistance. Imagine your life path number is a 5, the vibration of freedom, change, and dynamism. Yet you have convinced yourself that you need a stable, repetitive corporate career, a number 4 vibration, because you fear poverty. Because you are forcing a 5 soul into a 4 container, you are vibrating at a dissonance. It is like trying to play a cello with a hammer. You might make a sound, but it won't be music, and you will break the instrument. The burnout you feel is your higher self pulling the plug on the power supply. It is an act of mercy. If you were to succeed on this wrong path, you would be trapped in a life that suffocates your essence. Therefore, your soul decides that failure is a safer option than success. This is a terrifying concept for the ego. The ego wants to win at all costs, but the soul knows that winning the wrong game is the ultimate loss. We see this often when people enter a personal year 9, the year of completion and letting go, but they try to start a massive new business venture, which carries the energy of a 1. The universe is trying to clear the deck, but you are trying to clutter it. The result is total exhaustion.
How does the higher self communicate this blockade? It rarely uses English. It uses synchronicities, and specifically the interruption of flow. You might find yourself waking up consistently at 3:33 or 4:44. In numerology, the number 4 represents structure and foundation. When you see it repeatedly during burnout, it is often a sign that your foundation is faulty. It is a stop work order from the cosmic architect. You are trying to build a skyscraper on quicksand. Furthermore, you might encounter the energy of the 7. The 7 is the number of the seeker, the hermit, and spiritual introspection. When the universe imposes a 7 energy on your life, external progress stops so that internal progress can begin. You send emails and no one replies. You apply for jobs and the applications vanish into a void. This silence is intentional. Because you refused to go inward voluntarily, the external world has been shut off to force you into that introspection. It is the spiritual equivalent of being sent to your room to think about what you've done. But the modern mind panics in this silence. We think silence means death. Therefore, we scream louder, we post more, we call more, we work harder. This is the equivalent of banging on the door of a locked room. The door is locked from the outside. The only way out is through the window of your own subconscious, which we will explore next. If you ignore the 7, you invite the 8, the number of karma, power, and consequence. And an inverted 8 is a loop of suffering.
When gentle nudges fail, the higher self employs the archetype known in tarot and numerology as the Tower, associated with the number 16. The number 16-7 is a karmic debt number. It signifies the destruction of the old ego to allow the spirit to rise. This is the moment in your burnout where things don't just stall, they break. You lose the job, the partner leaves, the health scare happens. This feels like a catastrophe. It feels like punishment. But in the grand design of your numerological chart, it is a rescue mission. Imagine you are walking toward a cliff edge, but it is foggy and you believe it is a meadow. You are running toward it. Your higher self sees the drop. Because you won't listen to whispers, your higher self trips you. You fall and break your nose. You lie there bleeding, cursing the universe for tripping you. You scream, "Why me? Why now?" But you do not realize that if you hadn't tripped, you would have fallen to your death. The breakdown of your current life structures is the tripping mechanism. The burnout is the mandatory rest period required to heal the broken nose, which keeps you stationary long enough for the fog to clear so you can see the cliff. This 16 energy is ruthless but loving. It strips away everything that is not authentic. If you are clinging to a job title, a relationship status, or a bank balance to define your worth, the 16 will vaporize it. Therefore, the depth of your pain during this burnout is directly proportional to how tightly you are clinging to the false self.
After the crash, there comes the void. In numerology, this is the 0 point. The number 0 acts as an amplifier, but on its own, it represents potential and nothingness. This is the phase of burnout where the anxiety shifts into a flat, gray depression. You don't care anymore. You have no motivation. The old dreams taste like ash, but new dreams haven't formed yet. This is the most dangerous phase because the ego tries to rush through it. We live in a society that pathologizes stillness. We are told that if we aren't moving, we are dying. But nature teaches us otherwise. Look at winter. The tree looks dead. It has no leaves, no fruit, no growth. But underground, in the dark, the roots are deepening. If you were to force a tree to bloom in January, you would kill it. You are currently in your spiritual winter. Your higher self has blocked the sun to force your energy into your roots. Because you are in the void, your old manifestation techniques will not work. You cannot vision board your way out of the 0 point. The 0 requires surrender, not strategy. This is where you must learn the lesson of the number 9, the vibration of endings and release. You are carrying dead weight, beliefs, grudges, identities that cannot pass through the narrow gate of your new future. The burnout is the fire burning off this dead wood. If you fight the fire, you get burned. If you let it burn the wood, you are warmed. The choice is yours.
Why is it so hard to let go? Because the path you are on was likely designed by your ego, not your spirit. The ego loves linear progression. It loves the numbers 1, individuality, and 8, material success. It plotted a course: college, job, promotion, house, retirement. When your higher self blocks this, the ego perceives a threat to its survival. It screams that you are falling behind. But behind whom? Numerology teaches us that time is cyclical, not linear. You operate in 9-year cycles. If you are trying to peak in a year meant for planting, year 1, or a year meant for weeding, year 9, you are fighting the seasons. The burnout comes from the ego's refusal to accept that the harvest is over. You are standing in a bare field, demanding crops in the middle of a drought. Your higher self is blocking you because the crop you are trying to grow is poisonous to you. Perhaps you are trying to become famous, but your soul's mission, Life Path 6 for example, is about intimate community service. Fame would destroy you. The blockage is the immune system of the soul attacking a virus. The virus is your ambition. This is a hard pill to swallow. We are taught that ambition is virtuous, but misplaced ambition is spiritual cancer. Therefore, the burnout will persist until the ambition is surrendered. You must ask yourself, do I want this goal because it calls to my soul or because it flatters my ego? The answer is usually in the physical sensation of the burnout itself.
Have you noticed that your burnout feels familiar? Like you've played this level of the video game before? This is the hallmark of karmic patterns. In numerology, we look for karmic debt numbers 13, 14, 16, and 19. If you are seeing these numbers, or if your name or birth date contains them, your burnout is not just about this lifetime. It is an ancestral or past life loop. For instance, the number 14 indicates a misuse of freedom in a past cycle. In this life, the 14 energy manifests as a constant fluctuation between rigidity and chaos. You burn out because you lack discipline, then you overcorrect with extreme discipline, burn out again, and swing back to chaos. Your higher self blocks your path every time you swing to an extreme. It is trying to force you into the center, the temperate zone. Or take the number 19. This is the misuse of power and extreme independence. Those with 19 energy burn out because they refuse to ask for help. They believe they must carry the world on their shoulders. The higher self will induce a burnout so severe, so debilitating, that you must become dependent on others. You break your leg. You run out of money. You are forced to receive. This is not cruelty. It is the balancing of the scales. The blockage forces the corrective experience. Until you recognize the loop, you are doomed to repeat it. The burnout is the wall you hit at the end of the loop.
Sometimes the blockage is due to the presence of master numbers 11, 22, or 33. These are high voltage vibrations. If you carry these numbers in your chart, you signed up for a life of high intensity and significant impact. However, most people try to live a normal life with these numbers. They want the white picket fence and the 9 to 5. But you cannot run a nuclear reactor on a AA battery circuit. The burnout you feel is actually a brownout. Your system is short-circuiting because you are underutilizing your potential. Alternatively, you are over-revving. A master number 11, the illuminator, who is working a soulless data entry job, will burn out because the energy has nowhere to go. It turns inward and becomes anxiety and nervous tension. Your higher self blocks the normal path because you are not meant for normal. You are a 22, master builder, trying to build a garden shed when you are meant to build an empire of consciousness. The universe knocks down the shed every time, not because you are unworthy, but because you are playing too small. The pain of the burnout is the pressure of your potential trying to crack the shell of your limited reality. It feels like you are dying, but you are actually hatching. Therefore, the remedy for this type of burnout is not rest. It is alignment with a mission that is big enough to hold your energy.
So, how do we end the burnout? We stop fighting the block. We enter a state of strategic surrender. This is not giving up, it is giving over. In numerology, this moves us from the aggressive energy of the 1 to the receptive energy of the 2. The 2 is about trust, patience, and diplomacy. It is the energy of water. Water does not break the wall, it flows around it, or it waits until the wall erodes. When you stop pushing, you create a vacuum. The universe abhors a vacuum and rushes to fill it. This is why the moment you truly give up on a specific outcome, the moment you say, "Fine, I release this," the phone rings, the solution appears. By dropping the resistance, you stopped the friction.
The heat dissipates. The burnout heals. You must actively engage in non-action. This sounds paradoxical. It means doing the dishes with presence, walking in nature, sleeping without guilt. You are telling your higher self, I am listening, I am waiting for your command. You are shifting from the architect who draws the plans to the builder who waits for the blueprints. The blueprints are coming, but they cannot land on a table that is covered in your frantic scribbles. You must wipe the table clean. This requires immense courage. It feels like jumping off a cliff, hoping you will learn to fly. But remember, the ground you are standing on is already crumbling.
As we conclude, realize that the burnout was the bridge. It was the necessary tunnel between who you were and who you are becoming. When the blockage finally lifts, and it will, you will find yourself on a path you could not have intellectually designed. This new path will align with your true numerological signature. It will feel different. It won't feel like the manic, adrenaline-fueled hustle of the past. It will feel like a flow state. The number 5 brings change, but now you surf the wave instead of drowning in it. The number 8 brings abundance, but it comes through service, not greed. You will look back at the tower moment, the job loss, the breakup, the collapse, and you will weep with gratitude. You will realize that the higher self was like a parent snatching a poisonous berry from a child's hand. The child cries because they wanted the berry. The parent knows the berry would kill them. You are no longer the crying child. You are awakening to the wisdom of the parent. Your higher self blocked your path to save your soul. Now that you have stopped fighting, the real work, the great work, can begin. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. The door is opening. Walk through.